The cold left his body slowly, like ice melting under a weak sun. Eyes opened to darkness. His lungs burned as they pulled in air for the first time in what felt like forever. The pod's glass cover was cracked, frost covering its surface in strange patterns. He could hear alarms blaring somewhere far away. His fingers moved first, then his toes. Everything hurt. Pushed against the pod's cover and it fell away, shattering on the metal floor. He tumbled out after it, his legs too weak to hold him. The floor was freezing against his bare skin. He wore only the thin suit they'd put him in before sleep. How long had it been? 200 years. That was the plan. 200 years of sleep, then wake up on a new world. But something was wrong. The ship's lights flickered. Half of them were dead. The air smelled stale and old. Pulled himself up using a nearby console. His legs shook but held. Around him, rows of pods stretched into the darkness. Most of their status lights were red, dead red. "Hello," his voice cracked. The word echoed in the empty chamber. A screen flickered to life above him. A woman's face appeared, but it wasn't quite right. Too perfect, too still. An artificial intelligence. "Hello, I am Arya, the ship's AI. Welcome back to consciousness." "Where are we? Why am I awake?" "We are in the Andromeda Reach, Grid Sector 774. You are awake because your pod suffered a critical malfunction. The choice was revival or death." His mind struggled to process this. Andromeda Reach? That's not right. We were supposed to reach 442b. That's only 200 light-years from Earth. Correct. However, the ship experienced a navigation failure 847 years ago. We have been drifting since then. 847 years. The number hit like a physical blow. Everyone he knew was dead. Earth was almost 900 years in the past. His wife, his daughter. They'd chosen not to come with him, staying behind on Earth. He'd said goodbye, thinking he'd never see them again. But this was different. This was final in a way he hadn't prepared for. "How many survived?" he asked quietly. "3 pods remain functional, yours and 2 others. 3 out of 5,000 colonists, 3. Forced himself to move. He needed clothes, food, answers. The ship's corridors were dark and cold. Emergency lighting cast everything in red. He found a supply locker and pulled on a jumpsuit. It was too big, hanging loose on his frame. Had he lost weight during the sleep? He felt strange. Light somehow. He made his way to the command deck. The ship was massive, built to carry thousands. Now it felt like a tomb. The command deck's windows showed stars he didn't recognize, beautiful and terrifying in their strangeness. "Arya, show me the other survivors." 2 profiles appeared on screen. 32 medical officer, 38, he knew neither of them. On a ship of 5,000, that wasn't surprising. "Wake them," he ordered. "That would be unwise. Their pods are stable. Waking them prematurely could." "Wake them? I'm not doing this alone." Arya paused, processing. Understood, beginning revival sequence. While he waited, explored the ship. Each corridor revealed new damage. Holes in the hull patched over by emergency foam. Sections completely sealed off. The ship had been through hell. In the cargo bay, he found the colony supplies. Seeds for farming, tools for building, medical equipment, all of it useless now. He tried to lift a crate marked heavy machinery, and it came up easily. Too easily. The crate had to weigh at least 200 pounds, but lifted it with one hand. He stared at his arm. The muscles didn't look different, but something had changed. "Arya, what happened to me?" "Your pod's malfunction exposed you to the experimental regeneration system stored in Hold 7. The system was classified. I have limited information. However, scans indicate your cellular structure has been significantly enhanced." "Enhanced how?" "Your muscle density is 4 times normal human baseline. Your bone structure has been reinforced. Your nervous system shows increased conductivity. In simple terms, you are much stronger and faster than you were before sleep." Set the crate down carefully. Stronger, faster. He didn't feel like a superhero. He felt tired and lost and alone. Woke first. She was shorter than him with sharp eyes that took in everything quickly. When she saw the dead pods, she didn't cry. She just nodded, accepting it. We're the lucky ones then. Was taller, quieter. He spent his first hour awake reading the ship's logs, his face growing darker with each entry. We're far from Earth, he finally said. Farther than humans have ever been, and we're not alone out here. What do you mean? Asked. Turned the screen toward them. It showed a scan from 3 days ago, a ship, not human design, something else. Arya detected them. They've been following us for the past week. As if summoned by the words, alarms blared throughout the ship. Arya's voice came through the speakers, calm despite the warning. Alert! Foreign vessel approaching. They are hailing us. On the main screen, a ship appeared. It was elegant where human ships were practical, curved where they were straight. Definitely alien. The hailing channel opened and a face appeared. Scaled skin, golden eyes, a mouth full of sharp teeth. The creature spoke in sounds couldn't understand. Arya, translate, he ordered. Translation incomplete. However, their intent is clear from their weapons systems. They are powering up to fire. Shields shouted. Shield systems failed 600 years ago. The alien ship fired. The blast hit the eternal horizon side, rocking the entire vessel. Sparks exploded from consoles, grabbed onto a railing to stay upright. They're boarding us, Arya reported. Docking tube attached to airlock 7. His heart raced, his hands clenched into fists. The enhanced strength in them felt different now, not like a gift, like a weapon. Where's airlock 7? 2 decks down, but you cannot. He was already running. His feet barely touched the ground. He moved faster than he ever had before, his body responding to his will with perfect precision. Behind him, he heard and shouting, but he didn't stop. The airlock door was opening when he arrived. Figures stepped through, wearing armor that reflected the red emergency lights. They were tall, these aliens, 7 feet at least. They carried weapons that hummed with energy. The lead alien saw him and laughed. The sound translated somehow, maybe through body language. It was a laugh of dismissal, of seeing something weak and unworthy. The alien reached for him, grabbed the reaching hand and pulled. The alien flew forward, crashing into the wall with a sound like breaking pottery. The others froze, staring. Stared too at his own hands, at what he'd just done. The alien wasn't moving. He'd thrown a 7-foot armored soldier like a doll. Arya, he whispered, what am I? But he knew the answer. He was human, and the galaxy had forgotten what that meant. The other aliens raised their weapons, ran. Commander watched the surveillance footage again. The human moved too fast, one moment standing still, the next throwing a fully armored soldier into a wall hard enough to crack both armor and bone. 2 more soldiers dead in the following chaos. Their weapons hadn't even slowed the creature down. Seal all sections, ordered. His scales were dark with agitation. No one enters or leaves until we have contained this thing. Commander, his second officer said carefully, perhaps we should simply destroy the ship. And lose the prize. No, the assembly will pay well for a living specimen of whatever this is. Call the Apex Phalanx. Tell them we have work for them. In the ventilation shaft, tried to control his breathing. His hands were shaking. He'd killed 2 people. People? Were they people? They'd tried to shoot him first, but still. He'd never killed anyone before. He'd been a teacher back on Earth. Mathematics. His biggest worry had been grading papers on time. Now he was hiding in a metal tube, enhanced into something he didn't understand, with aliens hunting him through a dead ship. His comm device crackled. His voice was quiet. Where are you? Ventilation system. Section D, are you safe? For now, we sealed ourselves in the medical bay, is going through the old files. He found something about the regeneration system. What is it? It was experimental, designed to help colonists adapt to new planets. It enhances natural abilities, makes people stronger and faster, but it was never tested. They were transporting it for trials on the new world. It worked, said bitterly, too well. Listen, says it affected all three of us. We're all enhanced now. Maybe not as much as you, but enough. We need to work together. Before could answer, he heard sounds in the shaft ahead, clicking, like metal on metal. Something was crawling through the ventilation system toward him. He moved backward quickly, but more clicking sounds came from behind. They'd sent something into the shafts to flush him out. Dropped through an access panel into a cargo corridor. He landed in a crouch, his enhanced legs absorbing the 10-foot fall easily. The corridor was dark except for emergency lighting. Crates lined both walls, reaching to the ceiling. The clicking grew louder. Small machines emerged from the ventilation grates. Drones, each about the size of a dog with cameras for eyes and what looked like stun weapons mounted on their backs. 6 of them. They moved fast, surrounding him. The first one fired. Blue energy crackled through the air. Dodged, his body moving before his mind fully registered the danger. The blast hit a crate behind him, leaving a scorched mark. The other drones fired in sequence. Ran, weaving between the crates. The drones pursued, firing continuously. He grabbed a crate and threw it. The crate was marked Construction Materials and weighed at least 400 pounds. It flew through the air like it was made of cardboard and crushed 2 drones against the wall. The remaining 4 adjusted their tactics, spreading out to attack from different angles. His mind raced. He was strong and fast, but he couldn't fight like this forever. He needed to be smarter. Like he used to teach his students, when you can't solve a problem directly, change the problem. He ran toward the cargo bay's control room, the drones chasing him. Inside, he locked the door and accessed the bay's environmental controls. The cargo bay could be opened to space for loading and unloading. Dangerous, but it would work. He opened the comm channel. Get to the medical bay's emergency shelter, now. What are you doing? Asked. Something stupid. Initiated the cargo bay door opening sequence. Alarms blared. The drones outside the control room began cutting through the door with laser torches. He had maybe 30 seconds. The bay doors began to open. Air rushed out into space with a roar like thunder. The drones were pulled toward the opening, their magnetic grip struggling against the force. 3 of them lost their hold and flew out into the void. The last one managed to anchor itself to a support beam. Sealed the control room and waited. The atmosphere equalized. Emergency systems sealed off the section automatically. He'd bought himself time, but now he was trapped. Clever, a voice said through the comm system. Not Arya, someone else. I am commander of the assembly ship Pride. You have killed 3 of my crew. They tried to kill me first, replied. You are an unknown biological form in assembly space. We have the right to investigate. I'm human from Earth. We're not unknown. We sent colony ships to Earth, sounded amused. The mythical of the extinct humans. Those stories are old. No one has seen a human in centuries. Most believe you never existed at all. I'm real, we're real. Perhaps the assembly will determine that after we study you. I have called specialists. They will arrive within the hour. Surrender now and I promise your death will be painless. Cut the connection. Death. They were going to kill him and cut him apart to study him. Him and the last humans in the universe as far as he knew. No, he refused to accept that. He found a maintenance tunnel that led deeper into the ship. The tunnel was narrow and dark, but he could move through it. His enhanced eyes adjusted to the darkness better than they should have. Another effect of the regeneration system. He reached the engineering section and found what he needed. The ship's reactor was still running, barely. Enough to keep life support and basic systems online. And if the reactor was working, That meant the ship's main engines might still have some power left. Arya's voice came through the local speakers. What you are considering is extremely dangerous. Can we move the ship? At minimal thrust, yes. However, the navigation systems are compromised. I cannot guarantee our destination. I don't care where we go, as long as it's away from here. Can you do it? A pause, yes, but the alien ship will pursue. Let them try. Began the engine startup sequence. It was complicated, designed to be done by a full engineering crew, but he'd studied the ship's systems during the journey preparation. He remembered enough. His hands moved across the controls, faster than they ever had before, the enhanced speed helping him work. The engines rumbled to life. The whole ship vibrated. On his screen, he saw the alien ship, the Pride, moving to intercept. Arya, evasive maneuvers. I am not programmed for combat. Then learn. The Eternal Horizon lurched forward, accelerating away from the alien ship. Fired, but the shots went wide. The human ship was old and damaged, but it was also bigger than the Pride, built for long-range colony missions. It had more engine power. But speed wasn't enough. More ships were appearing on sensors. Reinforcements, sleek hunter ships built for pursuit. His voice came through. Whatever you're doing, they're cutting through the medical bay door. He had to get to them, but engineering was 3 decks away from medical. Even with his enhanced speed, he'd never make it in time. Unless he took a shortcut. Ran to the exterior maintenance airlock. He pulled on an emergency suit, one designed for quick hull repairs. It wasn't much protection, but it would keep him alive in vacuum for a few minutes. He stepped into the airlock and opened the outer door. Space stretched before him, infinite and cold. The medical bay was on the other side of the ship. He'd have to go along the hull. Jumped. In zero gravity, enhanced strength meant nothing, but he'd aimed well. His boots had magnetic clamps. They caught on the hull and held. He began moving hand over hand, crawling along the outside of the ship like a bug on a wall. Behind him, one of the hunter ships was approaching. It had seen him, a human crawling across the hull in a thin suit, an easy target. The hunter ship fired, pushed off the hull, flying through space. The shot passed beneath him. He grabbed onto a communication antenna and swung himself toward the medical bay's external access port. The hunter ship circled for another pass, punched in the access code. The port opened. He dove inside just as another shot tore through the space where he'd been. He was inside the medical bay's external storage area. Through the interior door, he could hear shouting, the sound of metal being cut. Didn't hesitate. He picked up a plasma cutter from the storage rack and opened the interior door. 5 aliens were in the medical bay. 4 soldiers and 1 tall creature covered in chitinous armor, clearly the leader of this hunting party, and were backed against the far wall, unarmed but defiant. The armored creature turned to look at. Its face was, with multiple eyes and mandibles that clicked together. When it spoke, the words were translated by a device on its chest. I am of the apex phalanx. You must be the dangerous one. You do not look so dangerous. Let them go, said. Laughed, or what? You will fight me. I have hunted 1,000 species across 10,000 worlds. You are just another beast to be caged. I'm not a beast, I'm human, and we don't cage easy. Moved, he crossed the room in less than a second, the plasma cutter swinging towards head. The hunter was fast too. He dodged, but barely. The cutter scored a line across his armor, cutting deep. The fight had begun, and the galaxy was about to learn what humans could do when cornered. The fight in the medical bay lasted 30 seconds. That was all it took for and the others to prove what humans could do when pushed. 4 soldiers went down first, their armor no match for enhanced human strength and desperation. Himself was harder. He was fast and experienced, but he'd never fought anything like a human before. In the end, broke two of the hunter's arms, and knocked him unconscious with a medical scanner. They left the aliens alive but secured. Among soldiers, they found one who was different, smaller, less armored. She wore the uniform of a pilot. When she woke, her large eyes were filled with fear. "Please don't kill me," she said. Her translator worked better than the others. Her voice was soft, almost musical. "We're not going to kill you," said, checking the alien's injuries. "What's your name?" "I'm just a pilot. I didn't want to hurt anyone." "Why did you come here?" asked. "Orders. Commander said you were dangerous, that you'd killed his crew." Looked at them with confusion. "But you look almost harmless. Soft skin, no natural weapons. How did you defeat the Apex Phalanx?" "We're human," said simply. "That's how." They learned much from over the next hours. About the Galactic Assembly, a coalition of 40 species that controlled this sector of space. About how humanity was considered extinct, a myth species that supposedly destroyed themselves centuries ago. About the laws that governed assembly space. "Your best chance is Nexus Station," finally said. "It's a neutral hub. If you can get there and claim asylum, they have to hear your case." "And if they don't grant asylum?" asked. "Then they'll turn you over to the science division for study," said it matter-of-factly, but she looked away. "I've seen what the science division does. It's not quick." Made the decision. They would go to Nexus Station, but not as refugees begging for mercy. They would go openly, proudly. They would show the galaxy that humans were back. They took ship, a small but fast courier vessel. The Eternal Horizon was too damaged to go much further. Before they left, stood in the chamber one last time, looking at all those dead pods. 5,000 people who would never reach their new home. "I'll make them remember you," he promised the darkness. "I'll make sure humanity isn't forgotten again." Nexus Station appeared on their sensors 2 days later. It was massive, a ring of metal and light circling a gas giant the color of storms. Thousands of ships moved around it like insects around a hive. Ships of every design imaginable. The heart of the assembly. "Last chance to turn back," said quietly. "No," said, "we go forward." They docked openly. Alarms began blaring the moment their ship's scans registered 3 unknown biological forms. Security forces surrounded the docking bay within minutes. Armored soldiers of a dozen different species, all with weapons pointed at the courier ship's door. Stepped out first, hands raised but head high, and followed. Came last, her face pale but determined. "I am," he announced. "I'm human from Earth. I claim asylum under assembly law." The security commander, a large reptilian creature, stared at him. "Human? Impossible. Humans are extinct." "Do I look extinct to you?" They were detained immediately, placed in a high-security holding area. The room was clean and well-lit, but it was still a cell. They waited for hours before anyone came. The person who finally arrived was different from the soldiers. She was tall and thin, with gray skin that seemed to shift colors in the light. Her eyes were completely black, unreadable. "I am Magistrate Aura," she said. "I oversee legal disputes on Nexus Station. Your case is unusual." "We just want to be recognized," said. "We're the last survivors of a colony mission. Our ship was damaged. We've been drifting for 800 years. 800 years. Aura's colors shifted to something that might have been interest. "Fascinating. If you are truly human, you represent a species thought lost to time. The Assembly would very much like to verify your claims." "How do we do that?" "Blood samples, genetic analysis, cultural knowledge tests, all standard procedures for first contact situations." It sounded reasonable, but saw something in Aura's eyes that made her uneasy. "And if we refuse?" "Then I must assume you are either lying or potentially dangerous. Either way, you would be turned over to the science division." Aura's colors shifted again. "I suggest you cooperate." They had no choice. The tests took 2 days. Scientists from a dozen species examined them, took samples, asked endless questions. Some were genuinely curious. Others looked at them like specimens in a jar. When the results came back, Aura called them to her chambers. The tests are conclusive. You are human. Your genetic markers match archived records from old Earth databases. This is unprecedented. So we get asylum? Asked. Not quite. Aura's colors darkened. The Assembly has laws for recognizing new species, but humans were already part of Assembly records listed as extinct. To remove that designation and grant you full rights, you must prove your species deserves recognition. How do we do that? The proving arena. Aura gestured to a screen. It showed a massive circular structure in the station's central hub. It's an old tradition. Species demonstrate their worth through combat trials. Win enough matches, and the Assembly grants you protected status. Felt cold. You want us to fight for our right to exist. It's the law. Many species have gone through this process. Most fail, but a few succeed. You would have 3 weeks to prepare, 3 matches minimum. Win all 3 and humanity will be recognized. And if we refuse? Then I cannot protect you. The Science Division has already made requests to study you. They're very interested in your enhanced abilities. Aura's colors shifted to something almost sympathetic. I'm sorry. This is the only path I can offer. That night in their cell they argued, wanted to refuse to try to escape, wanted to negotiate further, but saw no other choice. We fight, he said. We show them what humans can do. Maybe it'll inspire other humans out there if any still exist. The proving arena was everything the advertisements promised. Massive crowds filled the seats, thousands of aliens from across the Assembly. They'd come to see the humans the myth species brought to life. Some were curious, most just wanted entertainment. The first match was announced with fanfare. Stood in the arena center, the sand beneath his feet perfect and white. His opponent entered from the opposite gate. It was a crystalline creature, its body made of living glass that caught and reflected the arena lights. Beautiful and deadly. The crowd cheered. Begin, the announcer's voice boomed. The creature attacked immediately, moving faster than anything that size should move. It could phase through solid matter, becoming transparent and passing through attacks. Every time he tried to strike, his fists hit air. But the creature couldn't phase while attacking. Realized this after the third exchange. When it to strike, there was a split second where it was vulnerable. He just had to time it perfectly. The creature attacked again, waited. At the last possible moment he moved. His enhanced speed let him dodge the strike and counter in the same motion. His fist hit the creature's core, the central point where all its crystal structures met. The sound was like breaking glass. The creature shattered, pieces falling to the arena floor. The crowd went silent. Then someone cheered. Then everyone was cheering. Stood in the center of the arena, breathing hard, staring at what he'd done. This wasn't him. He was a teacher. He solved problems with words and math, not violence. But maybe that was the old him, the human from Earth. This was the new him. The human the galaxy had created by leaving them to drift for 800 years. The second match was worse. His opponent was a cyborg, more machine than organic. It had plasma cannons built into its arms and armor that could withstand small explosions. The fight was brutal, took hits that would have killed a normal human, but the regeneration system had changed him. He healed fast, not instantly but fast enough. He won by getting inside the cyborg's reach, where the big weapons couldn't target him. He tore components out until the machine stopped moving. The crowd loved it. They chanted his name. HYUUN, HYUUN, HYUUN. He hated it, but he also understood. This was power, not just physical power, political power. Every alien watching was learning that humans were strong, dangerous, not to be dismissed. Between matches, told him about the rumors spreading through the station. Other humans had been spotted. Old stories were being. Forgotten colonies were being rediscovered. Humanity wasn't just 3 people on a broken ship. They were scattered across the galaxy, waiting to be found. The third match was announced. Expected another warrior, another monster to fight. Instead, he got. The hunter had recovered from their first fight. His arms were healed, his armor repaired. He stood across the arena, his mandibles clicking in anticipation. "This time," his translator announced, "I will not underestimate you, human." They circled each other. The crowd was silent, sensing this was different. This was personal. Attacked first, moving with precision and skill. Every strike was calculated. He'd studied previous matches, learned his patterns. The fight was even for the first few minutes, then made a mistake. He got cocky, tried a complicated move that left him exposed. Didn't hesitate, he struck hard and fast, went down, but instead of finishing him, stepped back. "Yield," he said. Looked up, his multiple eyes filled with confusion. "Kill me, that is how hunts end." "I'm not hunting, I'm surviving. There's a difference. Yield and we both walk away." For a long moment didn't move, then he lowered his head. "I yield." The crowd exploded. Some cheered, some booed, but everyone was talking. A human had shown mercy. That wasn't how these fights usually ended. Aura appeared in the arena, her colors bright with satisfaction. "The proving is complete. Humanity has demonstrated strength, adaptability, and wisdom. The Assembly recognizes your species. You are granted full citizenship rights and protected status." Should have felt triumph. Instead, he just felt tired. But when he looked up at the crowd, he saw something that made it worthwhile. Aliens looking at humans not with contempt or dismissal, but with respect. The galaxy had learned what humans were like. Now came the harder part, figuring out what to do with that knowledge. Recognition changed everything and nothing. The Assembly granted humans protected status, but that didn't stop the whispers, or the threats, or the quiet meetings where powerful aliens discussed what to do about the returned species. Became famous overnight. His face was broadcast across Assembly space. The Human Warrior, they called him. Videos of his arena fights were watched billions of times. Some aliens saw him as a hero, others as a threat. Most just saw him as entertainment. But fame had an unexpected benefit. 3 days after the proving, received a secret message. It came through channels that helped them set up, encrypted and carefully hidden. "You're not alone, there are more of us. Meet me at these coordinates, come alone, a friend." Knew it could be a trap, but he had to try. He took a small shuttle and flew to the coordinates, an abandoned mining station at the edge of Nexus Station's territory. The station was dark and cold, its systems long dead. He found her in the central hub, a woman human sitting in shadows with a rifle across her lap. She was older than him, maybe 50, with short gray hair and scars on her hands. Her eyes were hard. "You're him," she said, "the one from the arena." Who are you?" "I've been here for 32 years, hiding, surviving, staying quiet." She stood up, the rifle never leaving her hands. "Then you show up and start making noise, fighting in arenas, announcing to the whole galaxy that humans are back. Do you have any idea what you've done? I've given us recognition, rights, protection. You've painted a target on every human in the galaxy." His voice was bitter. "There are maybe 10,000 of us scattered across Assembly space. Most are hiding like I was. Now every bounty hunter and scientist and curious alien is going to start looking. Maybe that's good. Maybe it's time we stopped hiding." "Easy for you to say. You're enhanced. You can fight. Most of us are just normal people trying to survive." They argued for an hour, but eventually agreed to help. She knew where other humans were hiding. Small groups, individuals, families, people who'd been lost or left behind by failed colony missions over the centuries. "There's a colony," finally said. "New Haven, 3,000 people on a moon in the outer reaches. They've kept hidden for generations. But if you're serious about bringing humans together, they'd be the place to start. Returned to Nexus Station and told the others. Was excited, was worried. 3,000 people, that's a lot of responsibility. We have to try, said. What's the point of being recognized if we're still scattered and alone? They began traveling. Using contacts and the small amount of fame had earned, they moved through assembly space looking for humans. They found a family of engineers living on a trade station, maintaining systems for aliens who paid well. They found a doctor who'd been working in secret, treating injuries for criminals who couldn't go to official hospitals. They found children who'd never seen Earth, whose parents told them stories of home like fairy tales. Each group they found, they connected to the others. Slowly, carefully, a network formed. Communication channels, trade routes, a sense of community that had been missing for centuries. But news of their activities spread, and not everyone in the assembly was happy about it. The High Council convened on the capital world. 13 species held seats on the council, the most powerful civilizations in assembly space. They argued for 3 days about the human question. Some supported integration. Humans were few in number and could be useful. Others wanted restrictions. Humans were too unpredictable, too dangerous, and one voice, louder than the rest, called for elimination. Chancellor was a cephalopod, his species known for military power and strategic thinking. He'd built his career on maintaining order in the assembly. Humans, in his view, were disorder incarnate. They are warriors, he announced to the council. Look at the records. Every human world we've found shows evidence of warfare. They fight each other. They'll fight us too, given time. Better to deal with this problem now while they're still weak. They're a recognized species, another council member argued. We can't just eliminate them. Can't we? Tentacles moved in patterns that suggested deep thought. What if they were to attack one of our colonies? Self-defense would be justified then. The vote was deadlocked. 6 for integration, 6 for restrictions, 1 abstention. No decision was made, but didn't need a decision. He just needed an excuse. 3 weeks later, New Haven came under attack. Was on a transport ship with when the distress call came through. This is New Haven Colony. We are under attack by unknown vessels. They're bombing civilian areas. We need help. Please, anyone, help us. The call cut off. Static filled the channel. Felt ice in his stomach. How far are we? 6 hours at maximum speed, the transport captain said. She was an alien who sympathized with the humans, one of many who'd started helping them. But we're a transport ship. No weapons, no armor. We can't fight. We have to try. They arrived to find the moon burning. 3 assembly warships orbited overhead, firing on the colony below. The settlement was built into underground tunnels for protection, but the bombardment was collapsing the tunnels one by one. That's Chancellor's flag, the captain said quietly. This is official assembly military action. Against civilians, his voice was filled with horror. They'll claim the colony attacked first, that it was self-defense. Didn't wait for more explanation. He ordered the captain to get close to the moon's surface. Against her better judgment, the transport landed 2 kilometers from the main colony entrance. The ground shook with each bombardment, and ran toward the colony, the air filled with dust and smoke. They found the entrance collapsed. People were digging through the rubble with their bare hands, trying to reach survivors trapped below. Human people, normal humans without enhancements, desperate and terrified. Who's in charge? Shouted over the noise. An older man looked up. I'm colony administrator. Who are you? Someone who can help. Get everyone to the deep shelters, now. We have people trapped. We can't just... Another bombardment hit. The ground exploded 50 meters away. Debris rained down on them. Now ordered. While helped evacuate civilians, did something crazy. He found the colony's communication array, damaged but still partly functional. He broadcast on all frequencies. "This is, to Chancellor and the Assembly Fleet, you're attacking innocent people. Civilians, children, this isn't justice. This is murder." "Shut down that transmission," his voice came back, cold and mechanical through the translator. "You are interfering with a lawful military operation." Lawful? What did these people do? They were just living their lives, staying hidden like the Assembly wanted. You're the one who's breaking the law. They exist. That is crime enough. Humanity is a threat. We eliminate threats. Felt rage building inside him. Pure, hot anger like he'd never felt before. "Then come down here and eliminate me yourself. Stop hiding in orbit and face me." There was silence, then laughed. "You think I'm a fool? I've seen what you can do in an arena against single opponents. But you're just one human. I have 3 warships and 500 soldiers. Your strength is meaningless against those numbers." He was right, knew it. One enhanced human couldn't stop a fleet, but he had to buy time, time for evacuation, time for help to arrive, time for anything. "Then send your soldiers," said. "I'll be waiting." Took the bait. Maybe he wanted the glory of capturing the famous human warrior. Maybe he just wanted to prove a point. He sent down a full company, 100 soldiers with the latest weapons and armor. Met them in the open, standing alone on the dusty surface of the moon. Had tried to stop him. So had and the other colonists, but this was something he had to do. The soldiers advanced in formation, professional, disciplined. They expected him to run or hide. Instead, he walked toward them. The first soldier to fire missed, not because of bad aim but because was faster. He closed the distance in seconds, moving between the soldiers like wind through grass. His fists struck with precision. Armor cracked. Weapons broke. Bodies fell. But there were too many. For every soldier he disabled, 2 more took their place. Energy blasts scorched his skin. Kinetic rounds bruised his bones. He was strong and fast, but he wasn't invincible. Went down on one knee. Blood ran from cuts on his face and arms. The soldiers surrounded him, weapons pointed at his head. "Surrender," their commander said. Laughed, blood on his teeth. "Look behind you." The commander turned. Ships were dropping from orbit. Dozens of them, not assembly ships, independent vessels, trade ships, mining haulers, even a few pirate corsairs, all armed, all angry. His voice came over the general channel. "This is the Free Fleet. We're here to stop a massacre. Any assembly ship that continues this attack will be fired upon." More ships arrived. Then more. Hundreds of them from all across assembly space. Species that had been oppressed or overlooked or simply tired of the assembly's heavy hand. They'd seen what was happening to New Haven. They'd decided to act. And leading them was, somehow having gathered this fleet in just hours. His voice was clear and strong. "Chancellor, you wanted to eliminate the human threat, but you've created something worse. A rebellion. Stand down. Now." The assembly warships hesitated. They could have ordered them to fight anyway, but even he wasn't that foolish. He retreated, but his final transmission was a promise. "This isn't over. The Assembly will not tolerate this defiance." As the fleet, the colonists emerged from their shelters. They'd survived. Barely, but they'd survived. And they'd done it by standing together. Looked at the gathered ships. At the dozens of species who'd come to help humans they'd never met. And all the others who'd refused to give up. "Maybe was right," he said quietly. "Maybe we are a threat, but not the kind he thinks. We're a threat to tyranny, to injustice, to the idea that strength means you can do whatever you want." "That's not a human trait," said. "That's just being decent." You reminded them what that looks like. The rebellion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Battle of New Haven changed the galaxy overnight. What started as an attack on one human colony became a symbol. Across assembly space, species that had been quiet for centuries started asking questions. Why did the assembly have so much power? who gave them the right to decide which species lived or died. The High Council fractured. Some members supported Chancellor's hard line, others called for his removal. The arguments grew heated. Two species threatened to leave the assembly entirely. In the chaos, one thing became clear. The question of humanity could no longer be avoided. The Council called for an emergency summit on Sanctum Prime, the Assembly's neutral diplomatic world. Every recognized species was invited, and humanity was asked to send a representative. Didn't want to go. He was a fighter now, not a diplomat, but convinced him. "You started this," she said. "You made the galaxy see us. Now you need to finish it, make them understand who we are." So agreed. The delegation was small, himself and 4 humans to speak for their entire species. Sanctum Prime was beautiful, a garden world with purple skies and silver oceans. The Assembly had built their Grand Council chambers here centuries ago, a massive dome that could hold representatives from hundreds of worlds. When the human delegation arrived, they were met with mixed reactions. Some aliens nodded respectfully. Others turned away in disgust. A few just stared, curious to see the species that had caused so much trouble. The summit chamber was overwhelming. Row after row of seats, filled with aliens of every imaginable type. At the center was the High Council's platform, where the 13 most powerful species sat in judgment. Chancellor was there, his tentacles coiled tight with barely contained anger. When he saw, his color darkened. "The human who started a rebellion," said, "how fitting that you come to answer for your crimes." "I'm not here to answer for anything," replied. "I'm here to speak for my species." "Then speak, the council is listening." Stood before the assembly. Thousands of eyes watched him. He felt small and inadequate. He was just a teacher from Earth. What did he know about galactic politics? But then he remembered. He remembered the eternal horizon drifting in the dark, the dead pods, the 800 years of silence. He remembered hiding for decades, alone and afraid. He remembered the children at New Haven who'd never known Earth but still carried human dreams in their hearts. "The Assembly says humans are dangerous," began. "That we're violent, unpredictable, a threat to galactic peace. And you know what? You're right." The chamber erupted in murmurs. This wasn't what they expected. "We are dangerous," continued, "because we don't give up, ever. You can scatter us across the galaxy. You can leave us to drift for centuries. You can try to bomb us out of existence, and we'll still survive. We'll still rebuild. That's what makes us human." "You admit your species is a threat," said. "Thank you for being honest. The Council will take this into consideration when deciding your fate." "I'm not finished." His voice cut through the room. "Yes, we're dangerous, but not to you. We're dangerous to injustice, to cruelty, to the idea that might makes right. Every species in this room has a history of violence. Show me one that doesn't, but most of you learned, you grew, you became better. Why won't you give us that same chance?" Stepped forward carrying a data tablet. "I'd like to present evidence, records from the eternal horizon, logs, messages, cultural files. Let me show you who humans really are." For the next hour presented Earth's history, not just the wars and conflicts that had focused on, but everything else. The art and music, the philosophy and science, the slow progress from tribal warfare to global cooperation, the colony ships that went out into space not to conquer, but to explore and survive. He showed them messages from the eternal horizon. A woman writing to her son, hoping he'd forgive her for leaving Earth. A man documenting the ship's garden, proud of the tomatoes he'd grown in space. Children drawing pictures of planets they'd never see, their whole lives spent between stars. "This is humanity," said. "Yes, we fight, but we also love, we create, we hope. We're not perfect, but we're trying to be better. Isn't that what the assembly is supposed to be about? Different species working together, learning from each other." The chamber was quiet. Some council members seemed moved, others remained skeptical. but color had shifted to something that looked like rage. "Pretty words," the Chancellor said, "but words don't change facts. Humans are a disruption. They've already caused one rebellion. How long before they cause another? How long before they decide they should lead the assembly instead of us?" "We don't want to lead anything," said. "We just want to exist. Is that so much to ask?" "It is when your existence threatens order." Stood his full height impressive even among aliens. "I invoke the right of challenge, ancient assembly law. If humans truly deserve recognition, let them prove it. Single combat, my champion against theirs. The winner decides humanity's fate." The council erupted in argument. Some thought the challenge was barbaric, others saw it as a fair test. But the law was clear. Once invoked, the right of challenge had to be honored. "Who's your champion?" asked quietly. "You're looking at him," said. "I will face you myself." "No, wait, that would be too easy. I have someone better." A section of the chamber floor opened. A platform rose from below. On it stood the largest alien had ever seen, 12 feet tall, covered in metal that seemed to be part of its body. Its face was hidden behind a helmet, but its eyes glowed red. "This is," announced, "a warrior from the First War, kept in stasis for 800 years. He's won 200 challenges. He's never been defeated, and he's very, very angry at being woken up." His voice was like grinding metal. "Where is the human who dares challenge the assembly?" Stepped forward. "I'm here." Looked down at him and laughed. You're barely tall enough to reach my chest. This will be quick." The fight was scheduled for the next day. It would take place in Sanctum Prime's Grand Coliseum, broadcast to every world in assembly space. Billions would watch. The fate of humanity decided by two people hitting each other until one stopped moving. That night couldn't sleep. He sat in his quarters looking at old photos on his personal tablet, pictures from Earth, his wife, his daughter. They'd been dead for almost 900 years, but the pain was still fresh. Found him there. She sat down without asking, just being there in the silence. "You don't have to do this," she finally said. "We could run, disappear again, live quietly." "No, I'm done running. I'm done hiding. Whatever happens tomorrow happens." "You might die." "Then I die, but at least the galaxy will know we tried." The next morning the Coliseum was packed, every seat filled. The noise was deafening. Walked into the arena alone. The sand under his feet was white and perfect. In the center of the arena stood, waiting. The rules were simple. Fight until someone surrendered or died. No weapons except what you brought with you. Had his living metal armor and centuries of experience. Had his enhanced body and human stubbornness. "Begin," the announcer's voice boomed. Moved first. For something so large, he was incredibly fast. His fist came at like a meteor. Dodged, but barely. The ground where he'd been standing exploded into debris. Tried to counter, striking at midsection. His enhanced strength should have been enough to hurt anything, but the metal absorbed the impact. It was like punching a mountain. Laughed and swung again. This time he connected. Flew across the arena, hitting the wall hard enough to crack stone. Pain exploded through his body. The regeneration system started working immediately, but it wasn't fast enough. Kept coming, relentless, unstoppable. Each hit drove deeper into the ground, his ribs cracked, his vision blurred, blood filled his mouth. In the stands stood up ready to concede, but held her back. "Wait, look." Was getting back up. Slowly, painfully, but rising. His body was broken, but something inside him refused to quit. "Why do you keep standing?" asked, genuinely curious. "You cannot win. I've fought champions from 100 worlds. All of them fell. You're nothing special." "You're wrong," said through bloody teeth. "I'm human. That makes me very special." He attacked again, not with strength this time, but with strategy. He'd been studying movements, looking for patterns. The ancient warrior was powerful but predictable. He relied on his armor, on his size. He'd never learned to adapt. went low, striking at joints where the metal was thinner, tried to grab him but was faster. He climbed up the warrior's body, using his own size as an advantage. Smaller meant more agile. He reached his helmet and grabbed it with both hands. His enhanced strength let him pull. The metal screamed in protest. Then it broke. His face was exposed, old but still alien, still dangerous, but also surprised. No one had ever gotten this close. Could have struck then. One punch to the exposed face might end it, but instead he jumped down and stepped back. "Yield," he said. "What?" touched his exposed face, confused. "Yield, we don't have to do this. We don't have to keep hurting each other just because someone told us to. The assembly is wrong, is wrong. We're not your enemies. I am a warrior. Warriors do not yield." "Then be something more than a warrior. Be wise. Help me change things." For a long moment just stood there. 800 years of conditioning said to fight until death. But something in its words reached him. Maybe it was the sincerity. Maybe it was seeing someone choose mercy over victory. "I yield," said quietly. Then louder so the whole Colosseum could hear. "I yield to the human." The crowd went wild. Some cheered, some booed, but everyone was shocked. The undefeated champion had yielded. His color went dark with fury. "This is unacceptable. The human cheated somehow. I demand a rematch." But other council members were standing. "The challenge is complete. The law is satisfied. Humanity has proven their worth." "They've proven they're clever," spat. "That makes them more dangerous, not less." "No," another council member said. This was Aura, who'd first judged on Nexus Station. "They've proven they're merciful, strong enough to win, wise enough not to kill. That's exactly what the assembly needs." The vote was called. This time it wasn't deadlocked. 10 council members voted to grant humanity full status in the assembly. 3 voted against, including. "Humanity is recognized," Aura announced. "Welcome to the assembly, truly welcome." Stood in the center of the arena, barely able to believe it. They'd won. Not through force, but through showing the galaxy what humans could be at their best. The next weeks were busy. Messages came in from across assembly space. Other human colonies emerging from hiding. New Haven sent word that they were rebuilding. The Free Fleet, the group that had helped defend them, was forming a permanent alliance with humanity. But the best message came a month later. It was a transmission from the direction of Sol, Earth Star. The signal was weak and old, but the message was clear. "This is Earth. Is anyone out there? We survived. We're still here. Children of Earth, come home." Stood with the others, listening to the message repeat. Earth had survived. Against all odds, humanities had endured. The colony ships hadn't been the last humans after all. "We need to go back," said. "Visit Earth, see what's left." "Eventually," agreed. "But not yet. There's work to do here. Humans to find, communities to build. The assembly is changing and we need to be part of that." Smiled. "Look at you. The teacher who didn't want to fight, now planning political strategy." "I still don't want to fight," said. "But I'll do it if I have to. That's what being human means. We adapt. We survive. We do what's necessary." On Sanctum Prime, in the gardens outside the council chambers, a new monument was being built. It would show a human and an alien standing together, reaching for the stars. A reminder that the galaxy was big enough for everyone. Stood before the incomplete monument, thinking about the future. Humanity had been scattered, forgotten, nearly destroyed. But they'd survived. And not just survived, they'd reminded the galaxy what determination and hope could accomplish. The stars waited above, full of possibilities, full of challenges, full of other humans scattered across the darkness, waiting to be found and brought home. Smiled, the teacher from Earth who'd woken from sleep too strong had finally found his purpose. Not as a warrior, not as a hero, but as a reminder, a living proof that humanity would never give up. The galaxy had ignored what humans were like. They wouldn't make that mistake again. And somewhere, far across the stars, Earth was calling its children home. The story of humanity's return was just beginning.